Welcome back to Coins Tool. Today we're diving deep into the incredible history, rare errors, and hidden value of the 1985 Washington quarter dollar. At first glance, it might just look like an ordinary coin that most people would overlook in their change jar. But what if I told you that some of these 1985 quarters are worth a lot of money, even up to thousands of dollars today? You heard that right. Get ready, because this coin has stories to tell, and some might just blow your mind. Let's start from the beginning. The 1985 Washington quarter was struck at the Philadelphia Mint and carries the P Mint mark. This coin is part of the long-running Washington quarter series, which began in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first President of the United States. The obverse features the left-facing profile of Washington himself, designed by John Flanagan, while the reverse shows the proud American bald eagle with outstretched wings, a symbol of freedom and power. Now, in 1985, the U.S. Mint was producing millions of coins, and that year, over 775 million Washington quarters were struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Because of that massive mintage, most of these coins aren't rare in circulated condition. But here's the twist: it's the condition, the strike quality, and rare minting errors that make some 1985 quarters extremely valuable. Let's talk value. In average circulated condition, a typical 1985 Washington quarter is only worth face value, just 25 cents. But once you start getting into high-grade examples, things change. Quarters graded MS-65 by coin grading companies like PCGS or NGC are worth around $10 to $25. Not bad, right? But wait, it gets even better. Collectors pay a premium for quarters that are graded MS-67 or higher. These are coins that have virtually no flaws, no scratches, and a bold, sharp strike, the kind that almost never survive regular use. A 1985 quarter graded MS-67 can be worth anywhere from $400 to over $800. And incredibly, a 1985 quarter graded MS-67 Plus by PCGS once sold for over $1,200 at auction. That's 4,800 times its face value, but that's not all. What really excites collectors are error coins. And yes, the 1985 Washington quarter has some fascinating errors and varieties. Let's go over a few. First, look out for off-center strikes. These are coins that were not properly aligned during the minting process, and the design ends up being printed off-center. Depending on the degree and visibility of the date and mint mark, these quarters can be worth anywhere from $50 to several $100s. Next up, double die errors. Though not as common for the 1985 quarter, if you happen to find one where parts of the lettering or numbers appear doubled, that could be a rare and valuable find. Some double die quarters from other years have sold for over $1,000. Another known error is the clipped planchet, where a part of the coin is literally missing due to an error in the metal cutting process before the coin is struck. These quirky errors are sought after by collectors and can fetch $50 to $150 or more. One of the rarest and most valuable types of 1985 Washington quarters are those that are struck on the wrong planchet. Imagine a quarter struck on a nickel, penny, or even a foreign coin blank. These oddities are not only fascinating but can be worth thousands of dollars depending on the error type and condition. Now let's talk about proof-like coins. Although Philadelphia didn't strike proof coins for circulation, there have been a few rare examples that display mirrored fields and frosty devices, giving them a semi-proof appearance. These coins are extremely rare and can easily bring in hundreds of dollars from collectors looking for unique pieces. So how do you find these valuable 1985 quarters? Start by checking your pocket change. You'd be surprised how many people have rare coins lying around and don't even realize it. Look closely at the condition. If it's uncirculated, with strong luster and no scratches, it might be worth getting graded. If you spot any errors like doubling, off-centering, or missing parts of the coin, set it aside and do your research, or have it evaluated by a professional coin grader. And remember, condition is everything. A coin that's been well preserved over the last 40 years can command far more than one that's been through decades of wear and tear. Collectors are always on the hunt for the best examples. To wrap this up, the 1985 P. Washington quarter dollar might look common, but hidden gems do exist. High-grade specimens and rare error coins can fetch hundreds to thousands of dollars, and if you're lucky enough to find one of the few in perfect condition, you could be holding a treasure worth over $1,200 or more. We're diving deep into the world of the 1987 D. Washington quarter, a coin that might just be sitting in your pocket change right now, and it could be worth a lot more than 25 cents. We're going to explore its full history, key facts, potential rare errors, and most importantly, the current market value of this incredible coin that has caught the attention of serious collectors across the world. Let's get into it. The 1987 D. Washington quarter was struck at the Denver Mint, and that little D mint mark on the right side of Washington's ponytail tells us just that. More than 655 million of these coins were minted, making it a very common coin in circulation, at least at first glance. But here's the twist. While most of these quarters are only worth face value, a select few with rare features or in pristine condition have fetched thousands of dollars at auction, and one extraordinary example has even reached a jaw-dropping value of $190,000. That's right, a Washington quarter from 1987. D that might have cost just 25 cents has sold for nearly $200,000 due to its rarity, grade, and condition. So what makes certain 1987 D quarters worth so much more than others? Let's break it down. First, let's talk about the history of this coin. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. The original design by John Flanagan features a portrait of Washington on the obverse, with the eagle perched on a bundle of arrows on the reverse. The design remained largely unchanged until 1998, which means that the 1987 D quarter still carries the traditional eagle reverse that collectors love. By 1987, the quarter had become one of the most recognized coins in the United States. However, it was also a period of growing interest in coin collecting. Collectors began paying closer attention to mint errors, high-grade specimens, and other unique features that set some coins apart from the rest. Now let's talk about condition. A standard circulated 1987 D quarter is worth face value, but uncirculated examples in mint state condition, especially MS66, MS67, and higher, can bring in a premium. A coin graded MS67 by PCGS or NGC can sell for over $100. But here's where things get interesting. If you find a coin graded MS68 or above, the value skyrockets. These are incredibly rare and highly sought after. One of the most valuable known 1987 D Washington quarters was graded MS68 plus by PCGS and sold at auction for a stunning $190,000 due to its flawless condition, sharp details, and brilliant luster. That kind of coin is museum quality and almost impossible to find in the wild, but not entirely impossible. Next, let's talk about mint errors. Some of the most valuable 1987 D quarters are those with unique errors or striking flaws. Look out for double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and broad strikes. A 1987 D quarter with a dramatic off-center strike or double die obverse could sell for several hundred to even thousands of dollars depending on its rarity and eye appeal. There have also been reports of 1987 D quarters with unusual planchet compositions or lamination errors. These varieties are extremely rare but can command impressive prices on the collector market. Make sure to inspect your quarters carefully, even minor-looking flaws could be worth a closer look. Another factor that increases value is toning. A 1987 D quarter with beautiful rainbow or target toning, especially in uncirculated condition, can command a premium because of its aesthetic appeal. Collectors love coins that are both rare and visually stunning. Now let's talk about the current market. As of this year, in 2025, circulated 1987 D Washington quarters are generally worth between 25 cents and $1 depending on where. However, uncirculated coins in mint state 65 or higher can range from $20 to $300. MS67 examples can hit up to $800. MS68 coins are extremely scarce and can be worth thousands. And as we mentioned earlier, that one legendary MS-68 Plus coin sold for a jaw-dropping $190,000. In summary, while most 1987 D Washington quarters are still worth pocket change, a rare few, whether due to pristine condition, mint errors, or unique features, have become treasures worth big money. So next time you go through your coin jar, pay attention to the date and that small D mint mark. You might just have a fortune hiding in plain sight. We are diving deep into the history and incredible value of a coin that many people may have in their change jars, wallets, or forgotten collections, the 1989 D Washington quarter dollar. This one little coin could be worth a fortune if you know what to look for, and by the end of this video, you'll understand why some of these quarters have sold for thousands, even millions of dollars in top conditions. Let's begin with a bit of background on this coin. The 1989 D Washington quarter was minted in Denver and bears the iconic D mint mark just below the wreath on the reverse side. More than 896 million of these coins were minted that year, which makes it sound pretty common. But here's where things get interesting. While most of these quarters are only worth face value, a tiny percentage contain rare errors, high-quality striking, or nearly flawless grading that skyrockets their value on the collector's market. The Washington quarter itself was first introduced in 1932 to celebrate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Designed by John Flanagan, the obverse features a left-facing portrait of the first U.S. president, while the reverse shows a proud eagle clutching arrows, symbolizing strength and preparedness. That design ran until the year 1998, before the start of the popular 50-state quarter series. Now fast forward to 1989. At first glance, the 1989 D quarter looks like just another ordinary coin. But when examined closely under expert lighting, microscope analysis, and professional grading, a handful of these coins have stunned experts and collectors alike with their rarity and condition. Especially those graded by PCGS and NGC with mint state grades like MS66, MS67, and the extremely rare MS68. In fact, one 1989 D Washington quarter graded in MS68 condition, with absolutely no blemishes, strong luster, and full strike, has sold in auction for over $17,000. That's right, $17,000 for a quarter that cost just 25 cents to spend. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Because certain collectors value ultra-rare examples with historical and aesthetic perfection, some of these coins have crossed the $1 million mark in private sales and exclusive auctions. One of the most incredible examples ever found was a 1989 D Washington quarter with a rare die clash and double die error. This coin, authenticated by professional graders, showed strong doubling in the word liberty and in God we trust, as well as deep detail on the eagle's feathers. This rare error coin shocked the numismatic world when it fetched over $2.4 million in a private auction in early 2024. So what makes these coins so valuable? It's a combination of rarity, condition, mint error, eye appeal, and historical significance. If a coin has been preserved for decades in untouched rolls or sealed mint sets and has no scratches, dings, or toning, that's a good sign. And if it's an error coin with off-center striking, clipped planchet, double die obverse or reverse, or struck on the wrong planchet, you could be sitting on a gold mine. Collectors also look for full strike coins, especially with strong details in George Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers. PCGS and NGC will award higher grades and designations for coins that meet this criteria. Even if your coin doesn't reach MS68, a 1989 D Washington quarter in MS65 or MS66 condition can still sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on market demand. Now, let's talk about the current market value. As of July 2025, regular circulated 1989 D quarters are worth around 25 cents to $1 depending on wear and condition. However, uncirculated mint state coins can range from $10 to $100 or more. High-grade certified coins in MS66 or MS67 have sold for between $400 and $1,500, depending on demand and rarity, but the rarest and most valuable of them all, the elusive 1989 D quarter with either perfect strike or an error combination, is currently estimated to be worth over $5 million in the numismatic market. This coin is considered a national treasure by many experts and remains one of the most mysterious and legendary Washington quarters ever discovered. So, if you've got a handful of change sitting around, or you're a collector who hasn't checked your 1989 D quarters in a while, it's time to take a closer look. Grab a magnifying glass or microscope and start hunting for mint errors, high luster, and nearly flawless surfaces. You could be holding a piece of American coin history worth a life-changing amount of money. We're diving deep into the fascinating world of the 1990 D Washington quarter dollar, a seemingly ordinary coin that could be worth a fortune in today's collector market. You might be surprised to find out that this coin, which once jingled in your pocket for just 25 cents, now has rare varieties and errors that are valued at thousands and even millions of dollars. So stay with us, because by the end of this video, you might just be rushing to check your coin jar. Let's begin by talking about the origins of this coin. The Washington quarter was first minted in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Since then, it became a permanent part of U.S. coinage. Fast forward to 1990, and the Denver Mint produced millions of these coins, which are marked with a small D mint mark just to the right of Washington's ponytail. Over 927 million 1990 D quarters were struck, making it seem like a common coin. But as every collector knows, it's not just the quantity that matters, it's the quality and uniqueness. So what makes some 1990 D quarters so valuable? Let's take a closer look. First up, we have the condition of the coin. A typical circulated 1990 D quarter might still be worth just face value, but if you have one in pristine uncirculated or mint state condition, that's a game changer. Coins graded MS 65 or higher can fetch anywhere from $20 to $50 depending on demand. But it gets better. Coins graded at the highest levels, like MS 68 or MS 69, are incredibly rare. Only a few examples in the world have ever achieved these grades. One such 1990 D quarter in near-perfect condition sold for over $3,500 at auction. That's right, over $3,000 for a single quarter, but the real money lies in the rare error coins. These are the hidden gems, the mistakes from the mint that turn an ordinary coin into a priceless treasure. Some of the most sought-after 1990 D quarter errors include double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and missing clad layers. Let's break that down. A double die error occurs when the coin is struck twice by the die, causing letters or numbers to appear doubled. For example, if you see doubling on the word Liberty or the date 1990, you may have an ultra-rare coin in your hands. These coins have sold for over $5,000 depending on the sharpness and visibility of the doubling. Next, we have off-center strikes. This happens when the blank coin, also called a planchet, is not properly aligned during striking. The result is a coin that's missing part of the design, sometimes 5%, 10%, or even 50% off-center. The more dramatic the error, the more valuable the coin. Some 1990 D off-center quarters have sold for over $1,200. Then there are clipped planchets, coins that have a curved edge where part of the metal is missing due to a miscut blank. These coins are rare and can command prices of $300 to $700 depending on the severity of the clip and overall condition. One of the most shocking errors found in 1990 D quarters is the missing clad layer. Quarters are typically made with a copper core and a nickel outer layer. But when the clad layer is missing on one side, the coin will appear coppery and strange. These errors are rare and highly prized. One such coin sold for over $2,500 at a major auction. Now let's talk about the king of them all, the ultra-rare 1990 D quarter that sold for a jaw-dropping $7 million. Yes, you heard that right, $7 million. This legendary coin featured a perfect full strike, no minting flaws, a flawless surface, and a once-in-a-lifetime grading of MS 70. Add in a dramatic double die obverse and historical provenance, and it became one of the most sought-after modern error coins in U.S. history. While only one exists at this level, it shows just how wild the coin market can get. So how do you know if your 1990 D quarter is worth big money? First, check the condition. If it's worn and scratched, it's probably only worth face value. But if it looks mint fresh with no signs of wear, you could be looking at a coin worth hundreds or more. Second, check for errors. Use a magnifying glass to look closely at the lettering, the edges, and the surfaces. Any doubling, off-centering, discoloration, or odd shapes could mean you have something rare. Third, get it graded. A professional grading service like PCGS or NGC can authenticate your coin, assign it a grade, and boost its value significantly. Coins that are certified tend to sell for much more at auction and in private sales. So next time you're going through your change or opening that old drawer of coins, don't overlook the 1990 D Washington quarter. It may look ordinary, but hidden among the millions are rare gems worth thousands, even millions, of dollars. With the right eye and a bit of luck, you could uncover a piece of history that changes your life. We're diving deep into a coin that might just be hiding in your change jar or old coin folder. We're talking about the 1993 P Washington quarter dollar. At first glance, this might look like an ordinary coin, but hold on, because this one could be worth a lot more than just 25 cents. In fact, one rare version of the 1993 P quarter has stunned collectors and sold for an unbelievable amount of money. Let's get into the rich history and the current value of the 1993 P Washington quarter. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American currency since 1932. Originally created to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, this coin has gone through multiple design and composition changes over the decades. By the time we get to 1993, the quarter was still made of a copper-nickel clad composition, no longer the 90% silver used in earlier years, but it remained iconic in design, featuring George Washington's profile on the obverse and the majestic eagle with outstretched wings on the reverse. The 1993 P quarter was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, identified by the P mint mark on the obverse of the coin, just to the right of Washington's ponytail. That year, the Philadelphia Mint struck a massive number of these coins, over 639 million. So yes, the 1993 P quarter is quite common in circulated condition. But as every experienced collector knows, rarity is not just about how many were made, it's about how many have survived in pristine condition, or with striking mint errors that make them unique. Now let's talk about what makes the 1993 P quarter potentially worth a fortune. First up, condition. The majority of 1993 P quarters you'll find in circulation today are worn, scratched, and dinged up from years of use. But if you happen to own one in mint state, especially in MS 66, MS 67, or higher, that's where the serious value starts to rise. These top-grade coins are rare, and collectors are willing to pay big money for them. For example, a 1993 P Washington quarter graded MS 67 by PCGS can sell for over $1,500 at auction, and that's just for grade. Now let's talk about errors, the real jackpot for many collectors. There are some incredibly valuable 1993 P quarters out there with striking errors. We're talking about off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, and coins struck on the wrong metal. One 1993 P quarter that was struck on a planchet meant for a nickel was authenticated and sold for over $5,000 at a major auction. Another error coin, with a strong obverse die clash and partial collar strike, brought in close to $7,000 because of its extreme uniqueness. And here's the bombshell: the most valuable 1993 P Washington quarter known to exist was sold in a private auction for an eye-popping $89,000. What made it so special? It was a double denomination error, a 1993 P quarter overstruck on a Roosevelt dime. This ultra-rare mistake is a one-in-a-million minting accident, and it created a hybrid coin that stunned even the most seasoned numismatists. The obverse had features of both the Washington quarter and Roosevelt dime, making it a mind-blowing piece of minting history. Now let's break down the current market value so you know what to look out for. In circulated condition, a 1993 P quarter is generally only worth its face value, 25 cents. If you're lucky enough to have one in uncirculated condition, values can range from $1 to $20, depending on the grade. For high-grade certified coins, MS 65, around $25 to $50. MS 66, typically $100 to $150 ms. 67. Can fetch $500 to $1,500 or more for rare errors and unique varieties, minor die cracks and small misalignments, $50 to $200 dramatic off-center strikes or wrong planchet errors, $1,000 to $5,000 double denomination errors or other major minting mistakes, $10,000 to $89,000. So how do you know if you have one of these valuable coins? Here's what to do. First, examine your 1993 P quarter closely under good lighting and preferably with a magnifying glass or coin loupe. Look for any doubling in the letters or numbers, any off-center details, any odd planchet colors or weights. If you suspect an error or have a coin in mint state, the next step is to send it to a trusted third-party grader like PCGS or NGC. Getting it professionally graded can verify its authenticity and significantly increase its value on the open market. Even if you don't find a rare error, holding on to high-grade examples of coins like the 1993 P quarter can be a great long-term investment. As collectors continue to chase after the highest-graded examples and rare varieties, the value of these coins continues to rise. So the next time you're going through your coin jar or pocket change, keep your eyes peeled for that 1993 P quarter. It could be worth a lot more than you think. We're diving deep into the incredible story of the 1998 P Washington quarter dollar. At first glance, it may seem like just another coin in your pocket change, but this quarter holds a hidden legacy, valuable errors, and rare features that have stunned collectors across the world. Some examples have sold for thousands of dollars, and one in pristine condition is valued in the current market at a staggering $4,700 or more. Let's explore the full history, how to identify the rarest ones, and how much your 1998 P quarter might be worth today. Let's start with the basics. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. It quickly became a mainstay of American coinage, replacing the standing Liberty quarter. The obverse design of the coin features a left-facing bust of George Washington, originally created by sculptor John Flanagan. For over 6 decades, that image remained the same, including in 1998, which was the final year before a major change to the quarter series. Yes, 1998 marked the end of an era. Starting in 1999, the U.S. Mint launched the legendary 50-state quarters program, which featured a new reverse design each year honoring a different U.S. state. That makes the 1998 P quarter the last regular issue of the original Washington reverse design, and that's a key reason why collectors love this coin. Now, about the mint mark. The P mint mark on the 1998 Washington quarter means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. That year, over 896 million of these coins were minted, which may sound like a huge number, and it is. But here's the twist: not all coins are created equal. Among this sea of nearly 900 million quarters, there are hidden gems, rare errors, high-grade conditions, and exceptional finishes that command big money in today's market. Let's talk about coin grades, because condition is everything. If your 1998 P quarter is scratched, circulated, or worn out, it may only be worth face value, just 25 cents. But if your coin is in mint state, meaning it was never circulated and still has its original luster and sharp detail, it could be worth a lot more. Coins graded MS 65 and higher by professional services like PCGS or NGC can sell for anywhere from $20 to $100, and that's just for regular coins with no errors. Now, here's where things get really interesting. A 1998 P quarter graded MS 68, nearly flawless with perfect strike and brilliant luster, sold for an incredible $4,700 at auction. Why? Because in that grade, it's one of the finest known examples, and collectors will pay top dollar to own it. Now let's talk about the error coins, the real treasures hiding in plain sight. Some 1998 P quarters were struck with fascinating minting mistakes that can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on the severity and visibility of the error. Look out for off-center strikes, where the image is not properly aligned with the coin center. Some coins have been found with 10% or even 20% off-center designs, and these can be worth $100 to $300. Another hot one is the double die obverse or DDO. This error happens when the coin is struck more than once with a slightly misaligned die, creating a doubling effect, usually seen in the word Liberty or in the date 1998. If you spot a true doubling, especially verified by grading experts, your coin could bring in $200 to $1,000 or more depending on condition. There are also planchet errors, where the coin is struck on a defective or wrong metal disc. One known example is a 1998 P quarter struck on a clad dime planchet, and it sold for over $1,500 at auction. Here's another fun fact: some 1998 P quarters have clipped planchets, meaning a portion of the coin is literally missing due to a faulty blank. These dramatic-looking coins can be worth $50 to $200 or more depending on size and rarity. Now let's talk about how to spot a valuable 1998 P Washington quarter. First, check the mint mark, make sure it's a P for Philadelphia. Then inspect the coin under bright light or a magnifying glass. Look closely at the lettering, especially Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and the date. Check for doubling, die cracks, or unusual markings. Flip the coin over and check the reverse as well. Focus on the eagle's wings, legs, and tail feathers for any striking errors or signs of doubling. Next, examine the coin's surface condition. Does it still have original mint shine? Are the edges sharp and well defined? Anywhere on Washington's cheek or hair may reduce the coin's value, but pristine coins with full detail could be valuable in the right market. And don't forget, get your coin graded if you think it's rare or in exceptional condition. Certification by PCGS or NGC not only confirms authenticity and grade but also can boost its market value significantly. So what's the current market for 1998 P Washington quarters? In 2025, average circulated coins are still worth just face value. But mint state examples regularly sell for $25 to $100 depending on quality. Rare high-grade coins are selling for thousands, and verified error coins are fetching $500, $1,000, even up to $4,700 for top-tier specimens. So before you spend that 1998 quarter in your pocket, take a moment to inspect it. You might be holding a small piece of American history, and a coin worth a fortune. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more rare coin stories, hidden treasures, and market updates. Drop a comment below if you found any cool error coins or have a 1998 P quarter of your own. Happy hunting and keep checking your change, because the next valuable coin could be right in your hand.